Peace. This is for the sisters, all right? This is for the sisters, not with to the brothers. It is to the brothers if they want to treat their women according to the Quran, not according to their books, okay? This is straight to my sisters, the Sunni sisters, okay? Because they're still my sisters, they're still my brothers. I still live with the Sunnis, I still hang out with them, I still live with them. So they are my brothers, okay? So today I came to talk about women, right? Talk about women in the Sunni religion, okay? Okay. All right. Some of you still have to do your research, yeah. Okay. We go with because this Razi, right? Razi is Mufassir Quran. He's got one of the tafsir, right? You know him, yeah? The Razi. You all know him. So, okay. That's what he says about. This is in his tafsir. That's why he said go to the tafsir. You explain the Quran. They said you explain the Quran to us, okay? So we can't understand the Quran, so they have to explain it for us. So we just have to follow what they explain. But when you go into the explanation of the Quran or the tafsir, you see some really ridiculous things. Who thinks like this? I mean, how do I follow a person who thinks like this? Okay. Okay. So, how did he explain this verse? Right? وَمِنْ آيَاتِهِ أَنْ خَلَقَ لَكُم مِّنْ أَنفُسِكُمْ أَزْوَاجًا. Okay? Among his proofs is that he created for you from yourselves pairs. So azwaj is pairs, okay? It's not my husband and wife. It's pairs, all right? So that's what the ayah said, yeah? Among he created you, among his proofs is that he created for you from yourselves pairs, all right? And then this Razi, how he explained it is just crazy. So he took another verse from the Quran. He said, وَخَلَقَ لَكُم مَا فِي الْأَرْضِ جَمِيعًا. So now this Razi, what he said in Arabic, كل المخلوقات لم تخلق للعبادة والتكليف وخلق النساء من النعم علينا وخلقت لنا ولا تكليف لهن لإتمام نعمته علينا. Let me explain that. He said, according to these verses to him, right? Because he said he created everything for you, and then and then the other one from his proof that he created for you from yourselves pairs. So this Razi, this smart guy, this Mufassir, so basically these two verses to him, they're only talking about men. They're only talking about man. This verse is not about women. That's why he said, all right, everything was created for us. So he's thinking women are like animals or trees or water. They were like created for man for their pleasure. Do you understand? This is a Razi. Okay. Now, I'm not reading. This is not my ideas. This is not my thinking. This is what your clerics are telling you. You know what I'm saying? That's how this Razi is describing women as if they are animals or trees or water, right? That means they weren't created to worship God or they have anything to do with anything. They just been created for man, right? For man's pleasure, right? Now, صحيح مسلم عن أبي ذر عن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم أنه قال يجزئ أحدكم في الصلاة أن يكون بين يديه الرحل فإذا مر بينه وبينها المرأة والحمار والكلب والأسود وفي لفظ آخر يقطع صلاة المرء المسلم المرأة والحمار والكلب. Okay, let me say in English. So this hadith is saying, you know when you guys do your prayers, right, your ritual prayers, yeah? So they always told you have to put something in front of you, isn't it? They always told us that. So for no one to cut your salat, right? I don't know how, but it doesn't matter. That's not the point. The point is, right? So this hadith is saying, what cuts off your salat, right, is a woman, a donkey, a dog, and obviously whatever it's like lion, right? I don't know. I don't know if any of you gonna still pray when the lion is there. It doesn't matter. This is just all your beliefs, all right? I don't know, because I don't think I'll be praying anything if there's a lion 100 meters away from me. Do you know what I mean? Not alone praying, not alone do this up and down thing. Okay, this is 2 verses, all right? Now, I'll bring you, I'll leave that to last because there's so many of them. So you see, this is a man-made religion, you know, and not just any man. Sexual predators, sick man, not just any man, right? They don't have to be sick, right? They really don't like women at all, right? I don't care what they tell you about you, bring you other hadiths that look what the Prophet said. I'm showing you another side that your man used, right? And some women are being abused, right? Right? Let's read you another. You see. I'm not saying this is your books. I'm not really. Don't blame me, right? This is in al-Bukhari and a Muslim. Bukhari number 3237 and Muslim 1436. Right? عن أبي هريرة رضي الله عنه قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم إذا دعا الرجل امرأته إلى فراشه فأبت فبات غضبان عليها لعنتها الملائكة حتى الصباح. Okay? That means if a man, right, wants to sleep with his woman and she says no, and he goes to sleep upset, so all the angels come and basically curse her until the morning, right? All the angels come and curse her in the morning. All right, sisters, I looked for another hadith. If it was the opposite, there isn't. There isn't the opposite. So there isn't a hadith about if a woman wants her to sleep with her husband and he says no. I look, no, it's just for women, right? It's just for women if they said no. For men, they can say no, right? Okay. Now, Ibn Taymiyyah, right, sees as, you know the hadith about the Prophet married the 9-year-old, and the 9-year-old and all that, yeah? So here they came up with fatwa from that hadith. I'll come to the hadith eventually and explain it properly, right? Because for a fact, right, it's all facts. Aisha was over 20 when she was married. But I'll come to you with facts, right? Basically, they're facts, or historic facts, basically. It's not from the Quran. Anyway, Ibn Taymiyyah يرى جواز إجبار الصغيرة غير البالغة على الزواج دون استئذانها. So this Ibn Taymiyyah, Shaykh al-Islam, your Shaykh al-Islam said, right? Any father can force his daughter, right, to marry even if she's not over the age of consent, you know? And he doesn't have to tell her. This is Ibn Taymiyyah, right? And then وأجمع العلماء على ذلك حتى وهي في المهد. And you know إجماع العلماء إجماع, right? And most those clerics, they actually said she can be forced to marriage even if she's not in a mahd. I mean, she's breastfeeding basically. She's in a cot, right? A cot. This is Ibn Hajar, right? That's explained it from. This is Ibn Hajar who said that. Ibn Hajar. You know who Ibn Hajar is? One of your best clerics. That's how he explain it, because he's got Fath al-Bari, yeah? Fath al-Bari explanation of the Bukhari, right? So Ibn Hajar in the Fath al-Bari explained the hadith of Bukhari, right? So you can force an infant, basically a baby, because she's in the cot. You can force a baby to get married, but you can't basically have intercourse until she's 9, right? This hadith still exists today. This is fatawi, right? So any Sunni, right? If you practice your Sunnah, this hadith, right? They're not telling you when, what time, if it was 1,400 years ago or today. This hadith is telling you can actually do it today. Because it doesn't say anything about old times or new times or something, nothing. This hadith says you can marry a woman, a girl of 9 years old. You can. And then in the same Bukhari, it's just confusing me, this hadith, honestly. Always like that. There's a hadith and there's another hadith against it. I don't understand, right? And then there's another hadith in a Bukhari and Muslim. This is Bukhari 5,136, and there's in Muslim 1,419. And Abi Hurairah, it's the same. It's the same. Abu Hurairah as well. And Abi Hurairah رضي الله عنه قال قال رسول الله لا تنكح الأيم حتى تستأمر ولا تنكح بالبكر حتى تستأذن. وكيف إذنها؟ قال وكيف إذنها? They can ask him. So how, كيف إذنها? قال أن تسكت. So now here Abu Hurairah came with another hadith contradicting his own hadith, that the first one, إذا دعا رجل امرأته إلى فراشه. It's just ridiculous. There's another hadith, right? Another hadith. The first one, you can marry a 9-year-old from Abu Hurairah. And then Abu Hurairah, again, that said the Prophet, you're not supposed to force anyone to marriage until you ask for their permission. So if the Prophet said that, why would he go and marry a 6-year-old and a 9-year-old? It's confusing, honestly. It's just mad. Just try, you go to your clearest issue and go left and right. It doesn't matter. You can read it yourself. There's no explanation. So you're telling us that the hadith to explain the Quran, okay? And then we need Ibn Hajar, right? Ibn Hajar to explain the Bukhari, all right? And then when he explains the Bukhari, we need another cleric to explain the explanation of the Abu Hajj to explain. Oh, come on, man. This is mental, man. This is absolutely mental. But I'll carry on. Don't worry about me. All right. In Islam, sisters, all right, God gave you a verse that tells you you are not a slave. You are not a slave. You free women. You can decide your life. You ain't got to ask permission for anyone. All right? Out of respect, you want to get married, all right? Out of respect, you speak to your father or your mother. Even if they said no, all right? Has nothing to do with him, because you're doing something that God asked you to do, right? God asked you. Zawaj, getting married is from God. It's not from your parents. I understand that. You understand that, right? No one can make you wear. You see, if you're wearing a scarf on top of your head, right, thinking that God, Allah, asked you to do it, then you're doing shirk billah, because Allah never asked you to put a scarf on your head. You're only doing it for your fathers and your clerics and all that. God did not ask you. Allah didn't ask you to put a scarf on your head, right? He didn't, right? Whatever you're doing is not from the book. It's not from the book. It's from the Bukhari and Muslim and your fathers and your fathers and your brothers and all that, because they think they can control you, like you can be controlled, like control your women, like you're actually slaves, right? But God gave you one chapter. You should one verse you should read about it, right? Is Surah Al-Nahl, chapter 16, verse 75. ضرب الله مثلا عبدا مملوكا لا يقدر على شيء. See? This is slave, right? Even if you've been forced to get married, forced to wear a hijab, forced to believe in anything, then you are a slave. And you have no, I'm telling you now, yeah? You have no leg to stand on in Judgment Day. You can't blame anyone. You understand? لا طاعة لمخلوق في معصية الخالق. You see, you practice what's in your book. Anything outside of this book, you shouldn't listen to anyone. not to anyone, right? Not to your father, not to your mother, not to your husband, not to your friends, not to anyone. You listen to the book. And there is a hadith about the Isra wal Mi'raj, and when the Prophet flew to see God, right? And then he actually traveled through time to see Judgment Day, right? And then he saw who was in heaven, in hell. And he said, most of the people in hell are women, right? I don't think the Prophet will never say anything. You see here, anything here, right? I don't think the Prophet said it. I don't believe he said it. I'm just telling you what your law are saying. Now, let's just read this hadith as well, right? This is in the Bukhari and Muslim. And so many people said it. Ibn Mas'ud, Ibn Umar, Aisha, wa Abu Jahifa. Right? They all said it. But this one is from Ibn Mas'ud. This is a version from Ibn Mas'ud. عن عبد الله بن مسعود قال لعن الله الواشمات والمستوشمات والنامصات والمتنمصات والمتملحات متملجات للحسن المغيرات خلق الله قال فبلغ ذلك امرأة من بأسد وكانت تقرأ القرآن فأتته فقالت ما حديث بلغني عنك أنك لعنت whatever he said النامصات المتومشمات all of them. You don't have to write it down again. فقال ابن مسعود وما لي لا ألعن من لعنه رسول الله وهو في كتاب الله فقالت لقد قرأت ما بين لوحي المصحف فما وجدته فقال لئن كنت قرأتيه لوجدتيه قال الله عز وجل وما أتاكم الرسول فخذوه وما نهاكم عنه فانتهوا. So this is another verse. You see why they say this verse, right? Because the clerics show them this verse, and this verse is talking about war booty, spoils, any money, anything. It's talking about what the Prophet given to his people, right? From spoils of war, right? You see. So let me say in English, right? So this guy said, you know, whoever, like, if you have a tattoo or you unplug your eyebrows or you shave your mustache, I'm talking to women, yeah? You shouldn't take no hair from your face. You should not. This hadith, right, is sahih, right? This Abdullah ibn Mas'ud is telling you that the Prophet said you should not take anything off your face. No hair. Even if you have a beard, you keep it. Even if your eyebrows go or you know, over the top, right? Otherwise, you've been cursed by God, right? If you have a tattoo, you're cursed. Anything to do with beauty, you should stay away from it, okay? You should not pluck your eyebrows at all. This is, you be cursed by God. All right, so this Ibn Mas'ud said all that, and then this woman, she was reading the Quran, and she heard him saying that. She heard he said that. So she came to him, she said, I heard you saying all this. What makes it? He said, how can I not do it if the Prophet done it? If the Prophet cursed these women who do all this, I'm only doing what the Prophet said. And she said, I've been reading the book, but I can't find anything in it that you're talking about. See, it's like me, isn't it? There isn't anything like this in the Quran, right? Even this woman in Hadith said that. You know what he said? He said, if you read the Quran, you will find that verse, alright, وَمَا أَتَاكُمُ الرَّسُولُ فَخُذُوهُ وَمَا نَهَاكُمْ عَنْهُ فَانْتَهُوا. So this verse, out of context, is used to verify hadith that has no correlation with the Quran. But they use it against you. Use it. If it is you, some women some men are using hadiths against their women, right? And they justify it as well. They justify it. Alright, now we move on to the main thing, right? To the main thing. We move on to the main thing, which is, I told you that قبيل عن سلمان قتادة بن السريين عن صفية حذرت بنت وجحرت عن عائشة قالت صلاة للحائض. Yeah. Now we go to there's a hadith here, right? A hadith that confuses me, really confuses me, and I don't believe that. I don't believe in the ritual prayer. I don't believe in it. I don't believe in it. It's not in the Quran. There's no details in the Quran, so it doesn't exist. I know salat is different. I know salat has different meanings. All right? I know. I do salat. All the salats that God talked about, all of them. I just don't do this, the ritual one, because it's confusing. It's just, that makes no sense, right? Now, it's talking about women in their period here. This hadith, right? At-Tirmidhi, right? This is from الترمذي, right? 377. حدثنا هناد حدثنا قبيضة عن حماد بن سلمة عن قتادة عن قتادة عن ابن سيرين عن صفية ابنة حارث عن عائشة قالت قال رسول الله لا تقبل صلاة الحائض إلا بخمار. I don't get it, because this saying, right, when a woman is menstruating, right, she's not supposed to be doing ritual prayer. But in this hadith, right, it's hadith and it's sahih as well, yeah? The Prophet is saying God doesn't accept, right, the prayers when a woman is in her period, menstruating, unless she wears a scarf on her head. Okay, let's go to a verse first. We'll go to verse, right? The verse, Surah Ibrahim, right? وَمَا أَرْسَلْنَا مِنْ رَسُولٍ إِلَّا بِلِسَانِ قَوْمِهِ. We did not send any messenger except to preach in the tongue of his people. That means the Prophet was talking, it's the same as the Quran, innit? Okay. And now, when he said that the al-ha'id in the Quran, the word ha'id is menstruating. When she's menstruating, she's in that period of menstruating. You know what I'm saying? Right. This is the Quranic Arabic, and that's what the Prophet used to speak. Okay? Ha'id is not, how they twisted that? Just go about it. They're saying, the Prophet is talking about the women that they haven't reached puberty. He would have just said nisa. He would have just said nisa. He wouldn't have said ha'id. Ha'id doesn't mean anything like that. Ha'id means exactly menstruating. That's what it means. And then they come up with another why he said it. It means women that they haven't reached puberty, right? They don't have to wear a scarf. I mean, I want to take my head off and throw it out the window, honestly, right? Because this hadith, your Prophet is telling you, you can actually pray when you're menstruating, but you have to wear a scarf, right? That's what the hadith is saying. There's no other explanation to this hadith. No one can explain it different. No one can try to twist it, right? Because you go to the Quran, al-ha'id, right? It's not adult. God doesn't describe it as adult or kids, you know what I mean? It doesn't, right? But they did. This what people did. The ha'id is the same language. It's the language of the Prophet. Yeah? He knows what ha'id is. He would have just said, all right, God doesn't accept, right? Doesn't accept the prayer of adult women, right? Except with a scarf, right? Or the Quran, or you know what I mean? He would have said that. He wouldn't say women in their period. He wouldn't, would he? Forget about that. If you don't believe me, just don't worry about it, mate. Don't worry about it. I'm not here to preach, yeah? I'm here to correct what they're messing with the Quran, all right? Now we go to the best hadith ever. All right. Now, men are different when it comes to God, right? In the Sunni hadith, right, men are better than women. Not just better. They basically think in this hadith, so right? I'm not saying if anyone doesn't practice the sunnah, I'm not talking to him, because you're not Sunni, is it? Because some of you are confusing me. You're Sunni until I show you hadith and you become not Sunni anymore, right? Your hadith, right? I show you your book with the numbers and I give you, this is from your books, and then I don't want to do this sunnah. I don't want to do this hadith. So you choose and pick what you want, yeah? So you don't practice all your sunnah, and you don't practice all your Quran. I don't know what you practice, to be honest. I don't know who you are. I really don't. It's confusing. What you do is confusing. So you only follow, right? You only follow what works for you, isn't it? What's good for you. Okay. Now, so men, all right? Men in the hadiths are all basically sex addicts. This is it, sex addicts. This Sunnism is about sex, is about using women as object is what it's all about when I read it, because it makes no sense. All right, it makes no sense. All right. And when I told you these hadiths are man-made, all right, man-made politics, all right. All right. Let's just give you an example before I start. This video is going on for a while now. And then this is not all the hadiths, man. I can probably do a video for about 3 hours, probably more. If I bring you all the hadiths that degrading women and shit, yeah. So men, all right, are special. All right, that's what they think, yeah. That's what they think. They think men are special, because they go to the verse الرجال قوامون على النساء without understanding the verse, right? Without understanding the verse, they think that verse give them the authority to treat their women like slaves, right? Right, men are different, right? And let's say if you like a president or a general in the army, right? And you want to make your people to go to war. You want to make your people to go to war. You're like say people to go to war, and you want their family, right, to support them. What'd you come up with? Just think about it for a second. What would you come up with? What would you tell these people? If you want to go to war, and you want everyone to agree with you, and you want your best soldiers, best men to go to war, what would you come up with? What would you tell them? And what would you tell their families? Because their families can stop them, can't they? No, you don't. Don't do anything. You just come up with a hadith, all right? And that hadith will tell you what it's all about, right? If this is not politics, I don't know what is. All right. This is a Tirmidhi, 1663. Ibn Majah, 2799. Imam Ahmad, 16730. عن المقدام بن معدي كرب قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم للشهيد عند الله 6 خصال يغفر له في أول دفعة ويرى مقعده من الجنة ويجار من عذاب القبر ويأمن من الفزع الأكبر ويوضع على رأسه تاج الوقار الياقوت منها خير من الدنيا وما فيها ويزوج 72 زوجة من الحور العين ويشفع في 70 من أقاربه. Okay, first of all, the Prophet would not use that word shaheed, right? Because shaheed is not a martyr. Shaheed is a witness. Look into your Quran, right? Look into your Quran and find me the word shaheed means you kill yourself for God. Show me, just show me. Go to the Quran and find me a verse. A shaheed means a martyr, right? It's not. It's not. So the Prophet would not use that because he speaks the language of the Quran, and the shaheed is actually a witness, right? But anyway, you can tell this hadith was written when they started waging wars against people. So they didn't even speak the language of the Quran, these people, yeah? So he's saying, all right, forget about he doesn't, just let's go to the main thing, all right? The main thing. So he gets married to 72 women, all right? And then, يشفع في 70 من أقاربه. That means he gets 72 women, right? And then he can get 70 people from his people, yeah, from his family. If they go into hell, he can actually take them to heaven with him. Isn't it the best thing to write? If you want to wage war and you want everyone to get into it, that's what you promised them, innit? That's exactly what you promised them. You promised the people that are fighting, and you promised their families they're going to go into heaven. Do you know what I mean? And guess what? The funny thing about it, women, because I'm talking to women here. You know, if a woman dies, it's the same way as a man. She only gets one man, and she doesn't have to take anyone to heaven with her. There isn't a hadith about women. Because obviously, 70 zawja. He didn't say, he said 72 wives, women. He didn't say spouse or anything like that. Do you know what I'm saying? So this is just for a man, unfortunately. This is a man club, right? Because he wouldn't do it with women. Women didn't fight then, apparently. This is almost men. So he has to come up with a political hadith that we can send everyone happy. Everyone goes to heaven. Do you know what I mean? Everyone. And he gets 72 women. I mean, what? I mean, these people, yeah, who read this and go and fight. What is it like You have to be like a sexual addict, innit? Sex addict, right? Sex addict. You have to be sex addict. Because you're not dying for anything. You're dying for 70, 72. You're just a horny asshole, basically. That's what you are. So you go to die because you want to have sex with 72 women. What makes you think that there is sex in heaven or sexual activities in heaven? What makes you think? What does it say in the Quran, right? There is sex in heaven. There's any sexual activities in heaven. Where did you get that from? Where did you get that from? Why is everything built on sex, right? Built on sex and sex and sex and women and sex, right? And then you can marry 4 women, and women can't marry 4 men. And you see, and even they're not allowed to marry 4 single women. I'll come back to that verse. I will come back to that, right? And then you find, and this hadith here, right? It's actually been corrected by the Albani. Sahih Albani, 30 years ago. And then you find in Sahih al-Bukhari 3245 and Sahih Muslim 2834. Who else? Abu Hurairah again. Abu Hurairah says, لِكُلِّ وَاحِدٍ مِّنْهُمْ زَوْجَتان. That means even if the man, Sunni man, even if they go to war, they don't die as martyrs or anything like that, they still have to get 2 women. They still have to get 2 women. Yeah, both they have 2 women. But a woman, she's only allowed 1 man. Even heaven, she dies. She dies. She goes and kills all the disbelievers by herself. Only 1 man. sorry, women. Sorry, women. This is a man club. This is not for you. And I can get you dozens of hadiths, man. This is just 31 minutes. I hope I explained everything here. Did I leave anything out? I'm just having a look at my about my what did I document, right? Yeah, I think that's it for now. Half an hour, 32 minutes. So no one is a slave. It doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman, okay? It doesn't matter. In the Quran, you equal. Man and women are equal, right? And when the God in the Quran says rijal and nisa, it doesn't mean the rijal are like men. It doesn't mean the women are women. And nisa are women. A rijal is people that have responsibility on to their families. Let's say a woman, or she's got a good job, or she's got an enterprise, she's making that money, and she has to look after her family and her husband. She's a rijal, she's a rajul, right? Rajul, right? And a man, if he hasn't got no qualifications, he's got nothing, he's not making enough money to look after his family, so his wife has to look after him and the family, he's al-nisa. Do you understand? That doesn't mean it's not sexist. Rijal, when he says it's not sexist, it's responsibilities. Do you understand? Do you understand? This is what it is. This is in the Quran. I'll come back and tell you about it. Right? That's why God said, الرجال قوامون على النساء. It doesn't mean men, right, are in charge of women. No, it's not. God wasn't talking about sex there. He was talking about whoever's responsible. If a woman is responsible, right, and she has to spend money and everything on her family, she's a rajul. And if a man, he's not capable and he's not responsible for his family, his wife is, he's nisa. That's the Quran. So, sisters, stay away from all this crap. Read your Quran, man. Read your Quran and only practice your Quran. Don't listen to anyone, man. Don't listen to anyone. Because no one owns you, man. You're not a slave, right? You're not a slave. You're not a slave like God said, right? God told you here, right? ضرب الله مثل عبدا مملوكا لا يقدر على شيء. Right? That means this is a slave. This is God describing a slave. But God didn't want us as a slave on earth. Right? We're ibad. We're ibad, we're not abid. Right? Ibad, that means we're free. Abid, that means we're slaves. As long as we're on this planet, right, we're not slaves, we're ibad. And then in Judgment Day, we become abid. Go and read your Quran. Go and read your Quran and you'll find out why are we abid in Judgment Day. Because we can't do anything. Because we can't do anything. Because it's Judgment Day. That day belongs to God. So we haven't got no say in that one. Do you know what I mean? So we become abid. And then when we go to heaven, we become ibad again. This is the Quran, man. This is the linguistic of the Quran. There's no slaves, right? There's no slaves. So no one is a slave. Women, man, kids, whoever it is not a slave. And no one can tell you what to do outside the Quran, right? No one can tell you what to do outside the Quran. Because if you do anything outside the Quran for anyone, you're idol worshipping. That's idol worship. That means you took other gods with God. Because you're doing things that they're asking you to do, but God is not asking you to do. Do you understand? It's definitely idol worshipping. And that's not the small idol worshipping. No, not the small one. It's actually the worst one. The one that God said he will never ever forgive. Because you're letting someone else legislates outside God's legislation. That's the worst shirk. Go, man. Peace out.